Welcome to Sacredly Selfish, a space where we flip the script on what it means to choose yourself.
I'm Megan, and together with Raju, we're diving into raw, real conversations that explore self love, boundaries, healing, and what happens when women stop abandoning themselves and start living in alignment.
Because being selfish isn't wrong. When it's sacred, it's revolutionary.
We're so glad you're here. Now, let's get selfish.
Hello, welcome back to Sacredly Selfish. Today's episode will be all about our routines and rituals that we have established, and they're super individualized and tailored to my life and Megan's life.
You'll see the polarities between what it's like for a working single mom who takes care of two children, what that routine is for her, and then for myself, a single woman who has a bit more extra time, and what it means for me to have a sacred routine and ritual in the morning.
I'm super excited to dive into that and just really share with you guys and hopefully give you some ideas of how you can incorporate some of these routines and rituals into your life if you're not already doing so. So let's start with that. My routine, I would say, starts in the evening. I'm not going to start with my morning routine. I'm actually going to start with my evening routine because that's what sets the tone for the morning for me and like just kind of ending the day. So, usually in the evenings, I will get my kids ready. Well, kind of bedtime, we start winding down. They have their milk or whatever it may be. And I always drink magnesium. So, magnesium is so good for your muscles, it was good for sleep. It is TMI good for your bowel movements. So I'm gonna throw that in there. It is very TMI. It's just good for your body in general, and it helps me personally wind down. Now, that's something I've had in my routine for at least 5 years. Even before I got pregnant with my daughter, I was always taking magnesium before bedtime. So I will have that. You can take it anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, and for me, it helps me just kind of relax and get ready to go to sleep. So as a mom, a full-time working mom, my kids, we always take a shower in the evening. Kind of, I like to take a shower at night as well too, because it just helps me kind of wash the day away and get into bed nice and fresh. And then I will always set up my clothes for the next day. So if it's a weekday, my work clothes will be out, and also my workout clothes for the next morning will be out as well too. And another big thing for me is that I have this massive, actually, if you're watching this, I have this massive um water bottle that I will fill up with water and I will put it at the location I will be working out. So sometimes I go downstairs into the home gym I have created, and sometimes I just work out of the guest bedroom, which has my little janky little stepper that I have. I will put my bottle wherever my plan is to work out the next day. So now I've already created that mindset that tomorrow morning, this is how my morning's going to go. And I find that creating that at nighttime really helps with setting yourself up to be successful. So then, yeah, I go to sleep. Next morning, I get up. Typically for me on a work day, my morning starts at 4:45, and I know that's super early for a lot of people, but I am a firm believer that getting up and doing something that makes you feel good and really allows you to clear whatever tension before you start your day is the best way of setting yourself up for success. So for me, it's always been I have to move my body in the mornings. I find if I don't move my body in the mornings, those days that I don't, granted, some days you do need rest days, but the days that I don't move my body because either I'm feeling lazy in a way or whatever it may be, in that sense, I always find I'm way more fatigued throughout the day. So for me, I get up in the mornings and I will do a workout. So what that workout can be lately for a few months now, all it has just been low intensity cardio. And that's kind of all I've been doing with throwing in Pilates here and there. I kind of haven't been very consistent with floor Pilates for a while now. I think over the summer I really wasn't consistent, but I do very low impact exercises. Old me used to do very high impact, but now I notice my body really craves low impact movement. So that's how I start my morning. And I have always started my morning like this for the last 15 or 16 years. Like that's what I was trying to say was that this one routine I have in place has been something I've been doing consistently throughout my pregnancies, throughout the passing of my husband, postpartum. It's just consistently I've been doing it, and it's gone through different variations. After that, I will get dressed for the day and I will head to work. So when I'm driving to work, I find instead of just listening to the radio or random things, I will kind of figure out what in that day I'm wanting to listen to, because what I'm listening to in the morning, I want it to be intentional. I want it to really make me feel good or allow me to really process whatever emotions I may have woken up with, whether it's like sadness, happiness, feeling love, feeling gratitude, whatever it may be. I want to be able to process that on that silent drive that I have. My drive to work is about 45 minutes to an hour long, give or take. So I really take that time to allow my ears and my brain to hear things that's really going to set me up for the day and make me feel good. So I will either listen to a podcast if I'm feeling I need guidance. I will find a podcast that will give me guidance, or I will listen to music, and the music can vary from whatever my emotions may be for that day, and or I will just drive in silence, to be honest. And sometimes I will respond back to Megan super early, especially when we're both working in the mornings. I'll send her a voice note, and usually that voice note is just like just full of love or how our day's going. It's just really nice. It's nice to kind of have that friend that you can send that voice note to. So I will send my love out to her. I will respond to my sisters, and that's how my morning drive to work goes. When I get to work, I get there early always. And again, my focus is to be very intentional. So this is something new I have added into my routine. So I was really inspired by Megan, and you guys will hear about Megan's routine as well too, but I was super inspired by her just her spaciousness that she had, and I always wondered like I don't have that spaciousness. It's either I'm going to work out or I'm going to throw in a meditation or journaling. Like I can't do both. And I kept saying I cannot do both. And then I realized, I'm like, I get to work early. Why can I not take 10 to 15 minutes for myself where I can really sit down? And this is the part where I find it's more of a spiritual ritual versus a routine. Like the workouts are routines, getting all my stuff ready for the next day is a routine. This is my ritual. So that's the difference of where I see is when you're really filling your cup spiritually and nourishing your soul in that sense, when it comes to like whether it's meditation, sitting in silence, holding yourself, writing, whatever form that may be, even maybe a stretch or a yoga. I know that's considered a workout, but for some people it can be a very great way to connect with themselves spiritually. For the last like 5 months ish, I have been on and off. I'm going to be very honest. I'm not super consistent with this yet, but I've been on and off journaling when I get to work. So my journaling usually looks like if there's something on my mind, I will write it out. If I need to vent about something, it will be written out. If I'm angry at somebody, I will write a letter to them and probably scribble on it and just be super, super angry. If whatever the emotions may be, if I'm happy, I will write about that. I will just, whatever thoughts are going through my mind that I need to dump out before I officially am able to focus on my job. I will do all of that. And then I will sit there and I will put on a guided meditation, and that always depends on my mood as well, too, what kind of guidance I want for my meditation. And I will sit and I will meditate anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. I don't do long meditations. I'm not quite there yet. And I can't really do them without guidance. I need kind of to hear somebody to keep me guided. Otherwise, I do find I wander. And then the meditation, I just start thinking of other things. I have conversations in my head happening. So I do guidance, and it's really helped me process a lot of emotions that I felt were very underlying. And adding in this ritual into my routine, I found has been very beneficial, even in the way I carry myself throughout the day at work, and how I find I am responsive to my loved ones at home, and how I find I have that spaciousness available to be holding capacity for others. Whereas before, when I was just doing this like routine of only working out and then going to work, and then now being nurse mode and now taking care of other people's health, I found that mentally I didn't have enough clarity. And now I find all this journaling helps me dump out whatever may be going through my mind. And a great reminder that this is working is when I find myself feeling really stuck and feeling like I'm more in my head versus being in my body. And it's always a reminder. And Megan will ask me this as well too. Have you been journaling? And usually the answer is no when I'm feeling
Mhm.
that way. So that's kind of how my morning slash nighttime routine and rituals are. I've also been introduced by Megan to cards. So sometimes I will pull a card. I don't do that as often. So I know Megan's going to talk a lot about that. That's part of her
Mhm.
routine. And but this is what my routine looks like. And I want you guys to know, like, no matter how busy you think your life is, there there's like 2 to 3 minutes in the day, even if it's just 2 to 3 minutes, that you can possibly add something that will help yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well, too, or physically, whatever it may be. And we'll talk a little bit more about that after, but I will let Megan tell you about
Mhm.
her routine.
Thank you for sharing. I also start my routine the night prior. I always like to put my house to bed, if that makes sense. Like, make sure all my dishes are put away, make sure my space is clear. Because if my space is clear for me, my mind is clear. And that is really important to me, something I really value. I hate waking up and then coming, there's like dishes in the sink, or I just feel very cluttered when I wake up. If it is a work day, I work pretty early. So I start my day at 7 or sometimes 6 in the morning. So I find waking up around 4:30. I know it's really early, but I've played with the different times of what feels good in waking up and really being able to like have that time to nourish my soul. And 4:30 seems to be like a really good time. And does that happen every single day that I'm working? Absolutely not. Let's be realistic. There are days that I wake up and my body is so exhausted. So I usually set my alarm, and if it goes off, I do a body check-in before I'm kind of fully awake. I check, am I really exhausted today? Does my body actually need rest today? Sometimes it's my mind, and you can tell when it's your mind because you're making up all these excuses in your head compared to actually feeling like, okay, no, you can wake up. You're just feeling a little bit tired because it's super early in the morning. So I do a body check in. If it's a day that I want to sleep in for another 30 to 45 minutes, I'll do that. And I'll also notice if I do think it's my body saying I need rest, and then I do go to sleep and then I wake up, I feel way more exhausted, really groggy. I feel shitty. I don't have that spaciousness in the morning to really have a slow, beautiful morning. And then I know, oh, that was my head trying to trick me into thinking, you need more sleep. This needs to happen. So it's a big trial and error. And I think that it's really important that you have these reflections. And not every day is going to be the perfect morning ritual. Give yourself grace because this is all a part of life, and knowing what actually works for you compared to what may work for Raju compared to what works for me. You really need to be intentional about your time and what makes you feel good. I think that is so important. Say I do wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I slowly wake up. I'm excited. I'm excited to start my morning. I put my silk long robe on. I will go out into my kitchen. I will make a cup of bone broth in the morning for just my gut health and my skin. It just makes me feel really good. I'll light my candles. I have lamps kind of all around my house, and Himalayan salt lamps. So it really has this cozy vibe in the morning. And I will have a very slow morning compared to Raj, where she work out and do all that. I don't. I used to. A few years ago, I was very militant about waking up at 4 in the morning to work out, to do the thing. And I realized I was doing that in punishment of my body and all the work that I've done when it comes to my body image and body love, which we'll get into in a different episode. But just to show the differences between what I thought was right and good for me before, and realizing that was actually in punishment of myself and my body trying to get a result. So now when I do have these slow, intentional mornings, it's so joyful, and it really sets my mood and my day for success. I'm not angry or bitter or rushing out the door because I have to get this done. and oh, I didn't make my lunch the night before and I'm late to work, and all of the things that you're rushing to get through, and then you realize like, oh my god, like my heartbeat is going so fast and I don't feel good. And that has happened even in the last 6 months. I will have those days where I'm rushing out the door and I'm like, this is the reflection that I needed to know that my slow mornings are a part of my ritual that make me feel really satisfied and set up for success. So as I take a seat on my couch, I turn on my TV and I put it to the Spotify app, and I have a morning ritual playlist. It's all very soft music, very meditative music, mostly instrumental. There's some that have a little bit of words to it, but nothing so dramatic. And I will sit in meditation. Now, meditation looks different for everybody. For the longest time, I thought I was doing it wrong and not being able to get it, quote unquote, as everyone else does. Sometimes I would lay down to meditate. Sometimes I would have to do a guided meditation. Sometimes it would be sitting up or just moving. Or sometimes I'm halfway through the meditation. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it today. And that's okay. We put too many rules to how we're supposed to do things instead of actually how you're feeling. I will sit in meditation for 20 minutes. I think that is the longest I've ever done. I close my eyes. I don't think about anything else other than just breathing. And then whatever emotion arises within my body, you would be surprised. Instead of just like shoving it aside, you just let it come up and let it come up. I remember the first time I did it, I was literally convulsing and crying, and I had so much stored trauma inside of my body that I didn't even realize. And I had done it consistently. And some days there was nothing. So it's just notice where you're at and don't put any pressure on yourselves to make it a certain way. Don't think that you have to cry in a meditation. And maybe meditation is actually singing out loud for yourself. Maybe it's doing a rap in the morning. Maybe it's dancing in the morning. Anything is possible. My mornings literally do change. Sometimes I will do the meditation for 20 minutes. What is very consistent for me, which is mostly every day, is journaling. As Raju said, like I love my journaling because who knows what's going to come out of my head. Who knows like if it's going to be a poem, if it's going to be just like random words, it could be anger, it could be anything. And it's just a beautiful discovery of what you don't even know could be possibly inside you. And I will share this. When I was younger, I always had a notebook and I would never write anything in the notebook. And I'd always wanted to be that girl who wrote, had all these amazing things to say. And I was like, I'm not that girl. I remember one night staying up late and I was looking up at the stars and I was like, I wish I could just write something on paper. And I just shoved it aside. And I never thought about it again until now. There was always this part of me that loved to write and didn't even realize it. And now that I've unlocked this part of myself, and it's such a beautiful gift.
By the way, guys, she has read some of her writing from her journaling and what thoughts have come out. And oh my gosh, her writing is motivational for people. I've told her she needs to start creating reels. Maybe by the time this releases, she's already doing this. I'm gonna keep pushing her to do it, but her writing is amazing.
No, I love that reflection. Thank you so much. And there was, again, that part of myself that I think you're not good enough. There are so many better people out there, but you don't realize what your words may mean to somebody else. Even though maybe that special person out there who you think is like so good at writing, and they are, it's hitting the right target audience for them. You don't know what you have to offer unless you try. And I was very afraid to share my writing and with Raju, and I'll share it with some of my soul sisters of just how I'm feeling and reading off the page, because you know what, like what's the harm? These are the people who are here to support me. So I do the journaling, the writing pieces. And as Raju mentioned, I have oracle cards. So if you are struggling with not knowing what to write, I have a few different decks. So I will, whatever I'm called to pull, I'll pull one card and I will write what I'm feeling. My intuition will just tell me what I need to write about this card. It could be about the imagery, it could be about the word on there. It's a way to just think about something else and to see what comes through. So then you're not putting the pressure on yourself to think of something. And also another good journaling prompt, you just put pen to paper, you don't lift the pen off the paper, and you just write. It could be random words, it could be anything, and eventually when you keep your pen on the paper, it will become something. You just don't know what it's going to be, and then you can just go with the flow. It's just an expression and it's just for you. No one needs to see it. You can burn it after, whatever it may be, whatever makes you feel good. I'm a huge advocate for journaling, and that could look differently too for some people. You could be doing voice notes to yourself. You could be typing it in the notes app. However you feel the most confident. So I will do that in the morning. Then I go take a shower. I do all of my beautifying. If I feel called to put makeup on, I'll put makeup on. If I don't, then I won't. I'm really intentional about the clothing I'm going to wear. I check in with myself during that meditation or during my journaling. Like, how am I feeling today? Do I feel like hiding today? That was a really big thing for me, is hiding myself, hiding my body. So my clothes would reflect that. I would wear baggy clothes, I would wear hoodies. I didn't even know what my style was, and I still don't. It's always ever evolving, but I'm really intentional. Does this feel good to me today? I'll make my protein shake in the morning. I will make an iced coffee for when I get to work. And then I really do notice that my day is so much more improved because I do these things. I am nicer to my coworkers. I am nicer to everybody around me. And it's because I'm not feeling rushed. And that's the thing, the slow morning of just gradually getting up, having my candles on, honestly brings me so much joy. Even on my weekends, which is where it also differs from Raju, I will spend hours pouring into myself. I will take a bubble bath. I will go sit on my balcony, soak up the sun, whatever writing comes through, sit in silence. I will sit like 3 to 4 hours in the morning, and I am so satiated. And these are just little things. Sometimes people can't sit in silence. Sometimes their mind is just going too fast and they have so many things on their plate. I have more flexibility because I don't have children. But say in the future, if I do have children, that'll be something that's really important to me, is to have my mornings, because that's something that's of value to who I am as a person. Because I've cultivated it now, I don't want to lose that later, or maybe I won't have children and it won't matter. But like, we don't know the future. And also just being present. And so when I'm present and connected, I am more present with everyone around me. I can show up so authentically and so beautifully. And it's a reflection. Like, so I feel like when I'm rushed in the mornings, everything goes wrong for me. Things go wrong at work, or finding that people are being grumpy as well. But it's because internally, I am also feeling that way. So it's just a reflection of who I am. So the mornings that I really do pour into myself and I take that time, I notice that the reflection, because I'm feeling good, everyone around me also feels good. And then if there are certain people who are grumpy, that's not on me. That's also just how sometimes people show up. Maybe they were rushing in the morning and they didn't have the time to pour into themselves or know how to do so. Also, I really want to say, your routine doesn't have to look like mine, doesn't have to look like Raju's. Even if you have to do 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, some point during your day, what are we doing most of the time? Scrolling on our phones. We're doom scrolling, and that's internally turning us against ourselves. If you take that little micro step, like just little changes that you can make, and it'll end up growing into something that you truly, truly love. And I think that's just so important, to pour into yourself first and foremost, to show up the best possible version of yourself. I have a walking pad, whereas Raju does it in the morning. For me, I like to take some walks during the day on my lunch hour. And then after I eat dinner, I'm usually on my walking pad. So for me, that feels more satiating than waking up early and feeling like I have to like really exert my energy, when really I want to make a slow crescendo into my day. I like a really slow satiating morning, and then before I get into the busyness that is work.
Her routine is so inspiring. And I think now you guys can kind of see the difference between Megan and mine. Mine is a bit more energetic in the mornings and get going and get things done. But then I do have my slow moments of reflection. And Megan's, she really pours into taking her morning slow and really setting herself up for the day. And she's right. It comes down to if you're pouring into yourself, that will be a reflection to the world as well too. If you're constantly waking up and snoozing your alarm clock and just kind of getting up just right before you got to get to work, you're going to notice your mindset for the day is not going to be as sharp as you would want it. You're going to feel irritated very quickly. And for some people that works. But like I said earlier too, even just adding in a couple of minutes a day, or even like if you're like, well, you know what, Megan and Raju, I don't even have any routine. I am that person that wakes up, snoozes 3 times before I get up. Okay, so why don't we just not snooze 3 times and we snooze only twice, right? Start with just that. Add in one thing, whether that means you get up and you just drink a big glass of water to hydrate your body, right? Just something small as that. Or you wake up and you take a really deep cleansing breath. Just adding in 1 or 2 things to your morning, stacking it on top of already what you do, like brushing your teeth, showering, putting your clothes on. Maybe add something into that routine that helps you feel like you're doing something for yourself that's not just a basic necessity in your morning or your day. And I think a great thing also is if you're like, okay, well, I'm not there yet. Like, I felt like I didn't have the time to journal. You have all these thoughts in your mind that are creating barriers for you. I think even just when you feel yourself getting agitated, whether it's in your workday, with your children, with your spouse, with your family member, whatever it may be, just take a pause, take a moment. And I have to remind myself to do this, but even throughout the day, sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll just take a nice deep breath and a nice long exhale. And even just that can recenter your nervous system. So, something as small as that, you could add into as a ritual. And it's really good to create your own individualized, personalized ritual, whatever that may look like. If it's just one thing, like I said, like for me, working out has been something for me mentally that has helped me for years. I knew that working out for me, even after my husband passed away, it was like after a month into it, my family said to me, Raju, maybe you should like start doing your movement, your body movement, and all of that, your workout again, because that's what brings you sanity. And just even doing that brought a little bit of, I'm not going to say brought a lot of clarity in that time because obviously everything that was going on, but it made me feel like there was still a part of me that existed before he passed away, if that makes sense. Like I did all of this and now I was able to keep doing it and I continued doing it throughout my maternity leave and all of that as well too. And it just helped me clear my mind. There's something about whether it's walking outside, whether it's whatever your body movement may look like, stretching, I find it just gives me personally more mental clarity, which helps me set myself up for the day. So we invite you all to just pick one thing that you
Mm.
can add into your day. It doesn't have to be in the morning, it doesn't have to be in the night, it can be in middle of the day. When you have that 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, just pick one thing that you can add into your routine.
And I think it's really important to remember and know that this is your life. This is your reality that you're living in. Like mine is mine, Raju's is hers, yours is yours. And I'm a big advocate of romanticizing your life. So when I wake up and I put those candles on, that makes me feel so cozy. That makes me feel so like sensual and sexy and that's what really truly brings me joy is to make the little mundane things feel special. Like if your morning coffee for you is something that brings you so much joy and so much pleasure, romanticize it. Put a candle on, make it slowly, drink it slowly. Just take the little moments in life. The more that you can cultivate your morning routine, whatever that may look like to you. It could be linear movement, journaling, meditation, making your coffee. Maybe it's just making your coffee and snoozing twice instead of 3 times to make that coffee. Just being able to bring the little things to life is so important. I think you'll notice that you will find so much joy in that, and then you'll want to continue further. So if something like working out in the morning for you sounds terrible and you do it and you're like, this morning is not for me, it's not gonna feel good for a morning routine. If you're more like me where you like to have a slow morning, that'll feel more inspiring for you to keep doing it every day. That is where the sweet spot is. It's a trial and error. You're not going to be perfect. You'll end up finding what's right for you and tailored to you, and that is your ritual. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Picking even one small thing like the coffee, making if you or tea, whatever it may be, it just taking your attention just to that cup of coffee, you brewing that coffee, you putting in the milk, sugar, whatever you're doing, just really focusing on that in itself is very therapeutic for you because now your mind is not going somewhere else. You're focused on that one task that's going to bring you so much joy to your taste buds as well too. For
Yeah.
myself, I love coffee, but Megan's right. It's small little things that you may feel are just everyday tasks that you're doing, if you just take your time to slow down and romanticize them and do them in that way. And for me, I'm not a person that lights candles and does all of that. Like I'm going to be very honest, I don't have the time to be setting my house up all romantically, right? Half the time my kids are running tornadoes around me, right? Like the one thing that keeps me even just helps me feel almost like peacefulness for visually is having my main area clean. So for me, that's I'll take sometimes time out just to like tidy up the kids' toys a little bit here and there and just making sure like the counters are clear, like something small as that. And when I'm home on weekends, I do the whole coffee thing. Like I'm obsessed with my Nespresso again. I went on a little bit of a aversion from it, but I'm obsessed with it again. And honestly, small little things like that bring you so much joy. It's the best thing in life, like tiny
Yeah,
little things.
it all adds up, and
It
that's
does.
we want to take
Yeah.
the wins where we can and enjoy our life while we're here. And even though we have to work, we're busy, we can take these little moments and just really enjoy being here, being in the present moment. How are you feeling in this moment? Let's not think of the to-do list of 10 billion things that we need to do. It's not important right at that moment. What's important is feeding and nourishing yourself and being able to show up to be able to take on all these tasks that you have to do. But if you don't slow down and you just feel like you're rushing through life and you're rushing to get everything done, you can burn yourself out.
So just a reminder, guys, slow down. Do one thing a day that brings you joy, and it could be the smallest little thing, even if it takes you 30 seconds to do. Just do one thing in the day that brings you so much joy and lights you up.
Just enjoy and play with life. Also, if you want to share what your rituals are now, how you might want to tweak them or change them, please share it with us. We would love to hear it. We'll link everything below where you can find us on Instagram. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for tuning in to Sacredly Selfish. Stay connected with us on Instagram and TikTok at Sacredly Selfish. And if this episode spoke to you, be sure to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs the reminder that choosing yourself is sacred, not selfish.